So the other day, Travis Kelce made some remarks towards the Raiders, and apparently the Raiders didn't win the game against the Chiefs. Instead, the Chiefs handed the Raiders the win.
Let's move on to the next game, Trav. Chiefs 14, Raiders 20.
Yeah, man. That was embarrassing.
Not a Merry Christmas in Arrowhead. What do you got? What are your first thoughts?
I mean, we handed that team a win on Christmas. We literally played Santa and gave them a present.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to disagree with you, but let's.
All I got for you is that that was embarrassing. Everybody in the building knows how embarrassing that was.
So apparently, Travis Kelce believes the Raiders did not get that win, and to me, that's crazy to think because the Chiefs' offense pretty much got their asses kicked. Like they got physically dominated. The Raiders' defensive line physically dominated the Chiefs' offensive line. Our linebackers, corners, safeties physically dominated the tight ends and the receivers of the Chiefs. We basically went out there and we beat the crap out of that team and we punched them in the mouth. Right? That wasn't a soft game. That wasn't some sort of, let's be a high scoring offense and let's, blow out these defenses. That's not the type of style of team that the Raiders are. We punch people in the mouth. We run the football. We play good defense. And that's what Antonio Pierce has preached. And that's kind of what the Raiders have been. Jack Jones actually responded to Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce said after the game, they were like Santa, they gave the Raiders that game. Do you feel like he's kind of just discounting the growth the defense has had?
He said they gave us that game. Yeah. Tell them to go watch that game. We took that game. Yeah, we own that.
To me, Jack Jones is an absolute star, man. I love the fact that he responded to Travis Kelce, letting Travis Kelce know, what the facts of this entire situation is. At the end of the day, as Jack Jones says, go watch that game. We took that game. To me, that's 100% fact. The Raiders took this game. And I want to talk about that, in this video a little bit. I want to talk about why I think it's important that the Raiders have this mentality and this mindset that, we didn't come out here and get lucky. We didn't come out here and you guys didn't give us this game. Instead, we took this game. We went out there and we punched you in the mouth because that mindset right there is going to lead into the Raiders having success. We got the Colts game coming up here. Then we'll have the Broncos. And, we can possibly make the playoffs coming up if we're able to win out. And then we just got to have a couple games flip for the Raiders. Week 18, the Ravens have to beat the Steelers. That'll be the big one. And to me, when I look at the Las Vegas Raiders, getting into the playoffs, and I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl this year, obviously, but, never say never about the Raiders having success when we get into the playoffs. This defense is the best defense I've ever seen the Raiders have. And we have legit ballers on that side. Guys are playing at an all-time high. Malcolm Kuntz has obviously developed into a almost, a superstar caliber player. Like, we'll see, right? We'll see what he does over the next couple of weeks. But since Malcolm Kuntz has gotten the nod as the full-time starting defensive end, opposite of Crosby, the guys came on strong. The guy's starting to crush people. He's starting to dominate. Going into a possible playoff game, I don't think people realize, this team is not the same team we were come weeks 1, 2, and 3, right? Because in those first games, we were thinking, okay, it's going to be, a mix of Jerry Tillery playing defensive end and Tyree Wilson, maybe Chandler Jones. But out of nowhere comes this kid named Malcolm Kuntz. And that's just on the defensive line. Adam Butler's been playing phenomenal this season for the Raiders. Adam Butler, I think, has been one of the bigger differences for the Raiders because he's getting penetration, he's making plays, he's a solid ass football player, and the defensive line has came alive, right? And this isn't the same team came, week 1 or 2 or early on in the season when we played the Bills. This isn't that same team, right? We saw what we just did against the Chiefs. So come playoffs, if we play the Chiefs, there's no reason why we can't beat the Chiefs again. The Kansas City Chiefs are not very good, right? And I shouldn't even say they're not very good, right? But the Raiders match up well against the Kansas City Chiefs. You take it a step further, a team like the Dolphins barely beat the Raiders. And let's be honest, if our offense played better, we would have beat the Dolphins. We'll come into the playoffs, we may play the Dolphins. You look at a team like the Bills. Although the Bills did pull away from the Raiders, that was early on in the season. That was a completely different team. That was a Marcus Peters, led secondary. This one here is different, right? You got guys like Marcus Epps and Jack Jones and Nate Hobbs and Amik Robertson. We're healthier today Coming to the playoffs, if we play the Bills, like, I think we can beat the Bills. To me, there's no team in the playoffs that the Raiders can't really beat, right? Obviously, I think the best team right now that'll give the Raiders the biggest issue, in my opinion, will be the Baltimore Ravens. But if it's the Steelers that make the playoffs, or if it's the Jags that make the playoffs, none of these teams scare me one bit, to be honest with you guys. I think this Raiders team is solid. And it's that mindset that Jack Jones is putting out there to respond to Travis Kelce and to let him know that, we're not scared of you. Go watch the tape. We basically kicked your guys' ass, right? That is basically what Jack Jones is saying. And going into the playoffs, that mindset right there can carry the Raiders into having success. All right, even if, we first and foremost just make it into the playoffs, that's a winning season in itself. But let's say we win one playoff game. That's such a massive win for the Raiders, and we can go into next season with this same exact, staff mostly, the same exact players mostly, but we'll actually add a couple of pieces because players are going to say, that Raiders team made it in the playoffs under Antonio Pierce. I want to go play for Pierce. There's going to be players around the NFL that are going to say, Jack Jones, took a shot at Travis Kelce. I want to go play opposite of Jack Jones. Or I want Jack Jones to be the cornerback when I'm that D tackle generating pressure. I want Jack Jones because he may, pick six on any given play. It's that mindset that the Raiders have kind of shown, and it fires me up that the Raiders are starting to play with this swag, with this mindset that we are better than you. Because the Raiders haven't had that mindset in years. Even back in 2016, I never felt like the Raiders had this swag to them that they have today. In 2021, I never felt the Raiders had this swag to them, right? Today, I feel like the Raiders want to play a brand of football that people don't want to play. This Raiders team is playing that style of football where, as Patrick Queen says, people want to play basketball on the grass. That's not the style of play that the Raiders are playing. The Raiders want to punch you in the mouth, and the Raiders want to kick your ass. And I love the fact that Jack Jones responded to Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce needs to get checked a little bit, right? His team isn't that team anymore. Travis Kelce is not the player he once was anymore. And it may be hard for him to realize that, but the Raiders are also not the team we were just a couple years back. This team is legit. I want to know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.